Is there someone in your own family who hoards things? There wasn't my household. There are 3 million people who suffer from compulsive hoarding. And these people hoard everything from food to trash, and it can destroy their lives. Now, there's a new television show called Hoarders, and it shows us how the clutter and the chaos that these people build up in their homes is nothing in comparison to the devastating effect that it can have on their entire family. First, we want to show it to you, and then we want you to meet the family.
The biggest fear and the worst thing that could ever happen to me in my life would be to lose my children, because they are everything to me. Everything. So why do I do this?
Sometimes she just feels so tired all the time that she just wants to lay in bed and watch TV and doesn't even want to attempt to do anything else.
I suffer from depression. I think a normal person who doesn't suffer from depression would get depressed if they were living here.
Well, I want to thank you, first of all, this family, for coming on with us. It's very courageous of you to have told your story, both in the television show and here. So I want to introduce you to Deborah, to her husband, Ron, and to their 2 remarkable children. Both Elizabeth and I saw this special, and these are their sons, Louis and Sam. One of the things that you referred to, which is that if you had kept up this terrible clutter, you might have lost the children, that they might have been taken away from you. So that was your impetus to want to clear things up. So let's start at the beginning. What kinds of things did you hoard? For how long and why?
Really and truly everything. I think it's, I was attaching a lot of sentiment to a lot of things. And also, I've always had this fear. It's like, I might as well have lived in the Depression. I'm always afraid that jobs are gonna go away or something like that. And so I'm always thinking I need to have a stockpile.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Deborah, your hoarding then sort of was triggering Ron and drinking, correct? And then your drinking was triggering her hoarding. So what was happening was it was just this cycle, as we saw in this special, sort of evolving into a near disastrous situation. Ron, it actually led you to the point of attempted suicide. And if you could just, if you don't mind, just take us back to that time, how bad things were, and that day.
Well, I was out of work at the time, and I was suffering depression, and it just got to the point where I started drinking more and more. And that one day after I took her to work and the kids to school, I went in the kitchen, drank like a half a bottle of vodka, and I just said I can't take it anymore. Between being out of work and being in that atmosphere and that living conditions, I just said I can't take it anymore.
What if somebody threw something away? I mean, you could have thrown some things away. What would happen if someone threw something away?
Wow. I guess we could pitch in, but it had gotten to the point where it was so overwhelming, you didn't know where to begin.
It's something that you hear a lot. It's hard to keep up with, and you 2 guys you're outstanding young men. You really are, as Barbara said. Did you, when going through this, I remember watching it, and you saying that you hadn't slept in your room for over 7 years in your own bed, right?
Now tell us where you slept.
I slept on the couch for about 9 years.
But you couldn't get in your room in the bunk bed. Yeah. And where'd you sleep?
On the other side of my mom's bed.
You slept in her bed. You slept in your mom's bed. You slept on the couch. You slept in another room. Because there was no place even to sleep. That's how bad it was.
And I want everyone to know, too, like, you're loving parents. You know, I think that this is, you can hear these things and read it on paper, and you love your kids, and you love your parents. When it was like that, it was obviously probably hard to do a little schoolwork, right? Did you think that this is just how it was for everybody, or did you know something needed to change, Sam?
Well, I knew that something was wrong because every time I went to a friend's house or anything, I would see that they always had their own room, and they would have a place to stay that was clean. So I knew something was pretty wrong.
We have in our audience Dorothy Branger, a professional organizer, and you actually worked, Dorothy, with a clinical psychologist to help the family out. What did you guys team up to do? What was your process?
I did. I work with Dr. Suzanne Chabot, and that's the best part of the Hoarder show is we team up with therapists.
Yes.
And we worked with the Open Chains on the show.
And you cleaned things out, physically cleaned out the house.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fantastic not only to clear the stuff, but to have a therapist to clear the stuff up here, right in the moment.
In the mind.
Do you know, I'm sorry, do you know why people, there's another case study in this special. Do you know why people hoard? Because I know you're in therapy now, the whole family, to try to figure this out, yeah?
There are so many reasons, Barbara, why people hoard. Some of the reasons are generational. You know, one generation was taught that saving is a virtue at one time. And then some people think, well, it's my identity. I don't want to throw anything away because I once was a chef, or I might be a chef sometime.
Different reasons.
Right.
How is it now for you? Is the house cleaned out?
Oh my gosh, it's getting there. We're moving on, and we're trying to maintain as we go. We had so much that we still had a lot to go through. We started. It was about 6 weeks ago.
Was there a regression right after, say, when Dorothy left? Was there a time when things started to build up again and you guys needed to jumpstart? Is that something that's typical?
You could ask Dorothy if that is typical.
But are you throwing things away now, all of you?
We are, and we're doing it as a team. It's not just me.
You guys are a team. You're all working on it together.
And you're back in your bunk beds, right? You're back in your own bedroom.
Own rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is really, it's amazing, and it's something that so many people are affected by. Congratulations.
Thank
We're
you
very
so
happy and proud that you did this. Thank you.
you.
And you have two wonderful kids.
do.
Yes, we
so
do.
we have to point out that with it all, you were very loving and good parents. Yeah.
We came in and we got together, and what was underneath all that clutter, we stayed up late talking as a family. And that's when they really got to know each other. They learned about the abuse in your own families growing up, Ron and Deborah. It was amazing.
Thank you all for coming, and we want to tell you that Hoarders airs Monday nights on A&E, and you can check your local listings. It's nice to have a story with a pretty happy ending. We'll be right back.